2:30. And I was there with my wife, and we had met another couple, and we sat together, and we started a conversation. The conversation mentioned the fact that I have 7 kids, and in his voice, 7 kids. And he looked at my wife and said, "You don't have a TV or anything?" So from then on, we met at Fred's Market, 2:30 every Sunday. And it was a pleasure always. Mr. Charles paid for his lunch that day. And as we went on, you saw how God moved us as a family. And in such a way that some gentlemen that didn't know us saw us and heard us laughing and having a good time. And he came and dropped $100 to pay for our lunch that day. It just showed how that link with him moved us in such a way and brought us all together and made this possible here today. So I'm graciously thankful for my relationship with Mr. Link, and I envy you because I was with him for 3 months, but you got so much time.
Oh, baby.
This is going to be hard. Giving honor to God, most of all, to the Link family, to the ministers, elders. Mr. Link was an originator. He had his own way of doing things, had his own way of telling you how he wanted things done. When he's talked to you, you better listen.
All right.
I'm talking to you. Do you hear me? And take his hand. I'm talking to you. Mr. Link, God is my father. Mr. Link is my dad. Oh, God. The man was something else. He talked about his Mustang. I had a Mustang. Yeah. That's all I drive. I don't drive nothing else. It's God. I don't want to drive nothing else. Get your Mustang. Mr. Link loved his family.
Yes, yes, he did.
He talked about the grandkids, his kids, great-great-grandkids. They had something for, I think it was Christmas.
Yeah.
For Christmas, he couldn't make it. He said, "Son, I'm going." I said, "Mr. Link, you're not feeling well." "I don't care what you tell me. I'm going." I said, "Okay, Mr. Link. I'm not going to argue with you." "You better not. I'm going." I said, "Okay." He went and he wasn't able to come. But within all, from what there's a lot of conversations Mr. Link and I had. In 3 months, it seemed like I know that man for 20 years. It's unbelievable. I haven't met anyone like this man in years. Thank God for him. The Link family, as he would say, I love you, and you can't do anything about it.
Go ahead, Charles.
To Reverend Stevens, Reverend Hayes, Reverend Roundtree, and Reverend Samuelson, and to this beautiful congregation. And last but not least, to the most important people and the most important family.
in this church at this appointed time, the Link family. It is indeed a privilege and an honor that I have been given this opportunity to say something about my friend and my fellow deacon,
Good job,
Deacon
babe.
Benjamin Lynch.
Look at the on.
If you want to get to know people these days, you sit down and you have a conversation. And in my conversations with him, I find him to be a very good family man, a compassionate person, always caring about the needs of others. He loved the deacon board. And I can guarantee you, when we were in meetings, he'd speak his voice. Whether you liked it or not, he'd speak his voice. And when he couldn't attend his meetings, I would always call him and give him an update on how things were going. And as his health started to fail him, I would call him a couple of times a week to see how he was doing. But before I could find out how he was doing, it was always how the church is doing. How was services Sunday? How's the deacon board doing?
Mm-hmm.
And from those conversations, we talk about something else. But before we end our conversation, we always got back to the church again. That's when I found out that he really loved this church. He loved the people in this church. And I was glad that he did. Because he played an integral part in the services of this church. He played an integral part in the devotional services of this church. Because Deacon Link was our lead singer during devotional services.
Amen.
Our devotional services start at 11 a.m. Now, he didn't always make it down here by 11 a.m. But he made it to church. He was always to church on time. It's just that he couldn't get from his car down here in a reasonable time, 11 a.m. And I would often ask Minister Everson, have you seen Deacon Lane? He said, he's downstairs, he's on his way up. And I'm thinking in my mind, it's already after 11 o'clock and he's on his way up. But you know what? I never started a devotional services without him being here. Because I'm a strong believer that if you want to do something in the church, you should always be allowed to do it. Amen. Because it's always about serving God. Amen. Another reason I didn't start the service is because I can't sing any better. And I'm looking at the other deacons that's standing around down here with me. They can't sing any better. I've heard them sing. And I used to tell Deacon Lee, you have a God-given talent for singing. And you have a very good voice. And he'd reply by saying, D, you can sing too. Well, that wasn't very encouraging. And I would tell him, when God was giving out the talents for singing, I was at the end of the line. And I can tell that Deacon Link was at the front of the line. He probably got my talent. But then I'd look up and see him coming off the elevator, making his way down here. And if you were sitting anywhere near the aisle over here, he'd stop and shake your hand, ask you how you doing. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind that I mentioned devotional services started here. And so he'd make his way down here. And when he gets down here, I still don't see any sense of urgency on his part regarding the time. When he gets down here, it's, how you doing, Maestro? Colonel Bush, you doing okay? Deacon Curtis, how you doing? How your daddy doing?
Yes, sir.
So I'm thinking in my mind, are we going to have a devotion service? So he finally turned to me and said, "Deke, you got on a new suit?" I said, "No, sir. I just haven't worn it in a while." "You looking mighty sharp this morning." I said, "Well, I'm just trying to follow in your footsteps, and I want to tell you, when Deacon Lee came to church, he was clean.
Clean.
He was clean." And I'm thinking that we're about to get started. He'd say, "You been to Sioux City in Orlando lately?" I said, "No, sir. I found that he and I shop sometime at the same place." And so I figured maybe if I give him a little nudge, we might get started. So I said, "Deke, maybe we ought to get started. You ready?" And I'm saying in my mind, you have no idea. But I just say, I'm very patient with him. I just say, "Yes, sir." But you know what? I can see right now, I bet you right now that Deacon Link is in heaven singing melodious songs from Zion. And the reason I say that is because he followed the roadmap that Jesus laid out for him. And listen to me very carefully. We have an opportunity to not only see him again, but to hear him sing again. But we too must follow the roadmap that Jesus has laid out for each and every one of us. And to this Link family, keep your head up. Deacon Link was with us for a long time.
Yes, he was.
And to Mrs. Paree Link and the remainder of the Link family, I thank you for this opportunity. And may God bless you and forever keep you in his care.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Good afternoon. Be a little patient with me. I can't call him Mr. Link, because the one time I called him Daddy, he said, "No, I'm Daddy." That was the first moment that I met him. And ironically, it was at a funeral. We started talking, and I told him how I was in school to be a funeral director, and he just lit up like, oh, it was, he wasn't even worried about the funeral no more. He was, so we started talking about flowers and everything, and at that moment, he became Daddy, and I was daughter. So, long story short, Daddy and I talked every day. He was my phone call on my way home from work. And I'd be like, "Daddy, how was your day?" "No, how was yours?" "No, how was yours?" And then he would tell me about how he just had a Pepsi, because he had cases of them sitting right there. And he was just like, "Yeah, I can't wait for you to meet the rest of your siblings." I was like, okay, because apparently y'all knew about me. And I was like, well, it's gonna happen. And I just didn't want it to be this moment that it happened. He even gave me the name, I was the missing link. Because I was down in Orlando, and every time he came to Orlando, I told Enrico, I said, "You don't ever have to worry about him down here." I said, "Because I got him." I was like, he's my responsibility when he come down here. I made sure he was safe having breakfast. He always called me when he got on the road. And sometimes we would talk on the road the entire time. We even had time schedules. I would talk to him from between 5 and 6. Val would call around about 7. So, he was like, "All right, well, Val will call him. I'll call you tomorrow." Okay. I never knew that I would be blessed in this lifetime with a second father. And to have to send another father home has actually broken my heart in ways that no one will ever understand. He was very special to me. not just in what he instilled in me for making him proud to become a funeral director, but just being his daughter. From doctor's appointments, medications, questions, everything. He loved my husband, he loved my kids. Him and Ma Paris came to my kids' graduation parties. They came, they had a good time. I made sure they was on the road in time to get back before it got dark. And he loved my family, like we are literally his own. He even loved my dog. He told me I spoiled my dog too much. And he couldn't wait to meet her. So when he came to my daughter's graduation party, he met Diva. That was my dog. And he was like, well, I'll be doggone. He said, I see why she's so spoiled. And I was like, well, he said, but that's my grandpuppy. I said, okay. This hurts. This hurts in a way that I will never, ever be able to understand. But I will cherish with me all the times that we had, every phone conversation, me fussing at him. Because yes, I had to fuss at him quite a bit. Yes, he would call Kai. And let me tell you about what Kenya done did. Kai, get him. Okay. Or if Kai did something, Kenya, get Kai on the phone. Okay. Even when he found out when he was sick, he couldn't tell Kai himself, so he asked me to call and tell him, and I did. I did everything I could, Daddy, to make you proud of me. And I'm gonna continue to make you proud of me. Take your rest, Daddy, because you've earned it. I love you, I miss you, and I'm gonna tell you again, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Let the church say amen.
Amen.
Let's say it again. Amen. Benjamin Franklin Lake. Giving honor to the angels of this house, the minister, all the funeral directors and staff. I met Benjamin Lake August 1972 in Miami, Florida. I was just a freshman, just enrolled in Miami-Dade Mortuary Science. Coming from Daytona, didn't know anybody in Miami. And I connected with Mr. Link at Rains Funeral Home. He took me under his wings. His kids then were small. Went to the house, sit down. So he always called me boy.